Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. My name is Isaac Lalouz and I'll be chairing the hearing. The committee members participating via WebEx and can be seen and heard are Ms. Sankar, Ms. Atarodi, Mr. Bartolo, and Mr. Klassen. City staff will be assisting us throughout the meeting, including moderating the WebEx platform. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentation to the committee using the said WebEx. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. These participants will be connecting either by their computer, a phone, a tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered applicants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called upon to speak, and please have only one electronic device on at a time to avoid background echoing. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto local appeal body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the local planning appeal tribunal known as LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if required. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. Where required, the applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation of the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer an application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to receive a notice are informed of the changes. Then, individuals either in support or in opposition to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the chance to address only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussions, and the application will then be taken to committee for a decision. Now, of course, there is no minutes to approve. We did this morning. We have a request for deferral, but in the meantime, members and staff, any conflicts of interest to declare for this afternoon agenda? No? Okay. Now, we have one item to defer. Any other files to close, Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer? No. Okay, we have a request to defer application number 18, I believe. Mr. Moderator, is it number 18?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Number 18. Okay. 888 Eglinton Avenue East. Mr. Thomas Glock, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, Thomas Gluck, 9 Magpie Crescent, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you. Now, as I understand, you're asking for deferral in line with what has been requested by transportation. Is that correct?
This is correct.
Okay, so let's see. Here we have two more speakers for this application. Jessica Green, are you there? Is she registered, Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Chair, Ms. Green does not appear to be present.
No? Okay.
Nor does Ms. Bender.
Oh, both of them. Okay. All right. So we have members, we have requests to defer the application as requested by the applicant and also as requested by the transportation in order to have a complete and required parking assessment study. So could we please, do you have any question to the speaker before we take a motion? No question? Can I have a motion, please? Maybe Sanidai? Okay, Mr. Bartolo?
Mr. Chair, through you, I'll make a motion to defer this application sine die to allow the applicant to produce the relevant studies.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved for deferral and to allow you to do the study, and then you decide when with the staff when he's going to come again, okay? So it is deferred sine die.
Thank you.
Okay. Application item number 16, which is 2 Chalistar Court. Mr. 16, Mr. Maran Zabzuni. Are you there?
Good
Okay.
afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Good afternoon.
My name is
Yeah, go ahead.
my name is McRae Abzuni. I am the agent on behalf of the owner for 2 Chalistar Court.
Thank you. This is a application to maintain this recently constructed dwelling. We have one variance regarding the setback. Staff report has no objection except to a condition to attach to the site plan, and we have 8 letters of support. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Any question to this applicant? If not, I'd like a motion. Mr. Bartolo?
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's a pretty straightforward application. It only affects a small portion of the outbuilding anyway. I'll make a motion to approve this application subject to it being developed substantially in accordance with the site plans.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved and subject to the condition to attach to the site plan. Okay?
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 17, which is 38 Bevdale Road. This is an application to construct a new dwelling. 7 variances: the height and the coverage are a problem. Staff report refuse the heights of number 3 and number 7 related to the height, and modify number 5 to 32%. The counselor letter recommends refusal of the variance altogether. 43 condition number 1 and 2. 1 letter of objection from 43 Bevdale, and transportation, no objection, just conditions regarding the no longer required driveways. Mr. Okay, it's 17, Mr. Babak Manifar, are you there?
Yes, hello. My name is Edward Blake Runkowski, and I'm here as agent for the applicant.
Okay.
Now, if I may just
No,
interject
just before that, could you please, you stated your name, could you give us your own address before we move on?
Sure, 25 Lacey Avenue in York.
Thank you. We have 2 more speakers here and we'll get you to our presentation, but did you want to say something before that?
Absolutely. As a person of Aboriginal descent, I just want to say how heartened and pleased I am that you began this hearing and this process with your land acknowledgement. I think that, gestures such as those are a long time coming in our society. I really didn't expect or anticipate it, but it was very refreshing to hear that. And I certainly appreciate the effort that the committee has made to recognize the historical and heritage of the city.
Okay, we haven't gone there yet. You have 5 minutes for your presentation. You can say anything you want, and then we'll give the people who are having concern, and we'll get you back. So you have 5 minutes.
Okay.
You have 5 minutes, and I start the clock right now.
Sure. So the applicant submitted new drawings to the city on the 4th of August. Subsequent to that, the applicant did receive a staff report dated the 20th of August, 2020. However, the staff report that was received on August 20th did not reflect the most recent drawings. Again, those most recent drawings were submitted on August 4th. So what we're requesting at this point is a deferral to allow us to receive a staff report based upon the most recent drawings, which again were submitted on August 4th. So it's a deferral that we're requesting at this juncture.
Okay, you're asking to deferral, and in order to discuss with the staff regarding the design or something.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, there was a staff report received, and there's some things that we want to go over in more detail.
That's fine. Okay, so let's see the other 2 registered people here, what they have to say. We have here Anne-Marie Westgate. Are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Okay, I don't know if you heard. Okay, could you please state your name and address?
Yeah, this is Anne-Marie Westgate, and I'm at 40 Bevdale. I'm here with Derek Brown, my husband.
Okay,
At the
thank
same
you.
address, 40 Bevdale.
Thank you.
We had a couple.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
sorry.
a second. We heard here the application, the applicant is asking to defer it in order to discuss with the staff regarding the design and the application. In other words, we will not be discussing it today. Do you have any problem?
No, I have no problem with that.
Okay, thank you. That's all we need, because when the application comes again, you'll be invited again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Derek Brownie, are you there?
Yes, this is Derek Brown, 40 Bevdale. I have no problem with the deferral request either.
Thank you. Just state your name again and address for the records here.
Sure, it's Derek Brown, 40 Bevdale.
Thank you. Okay, so we're back to the members. We have a request for deferral, and there is no objection for it. Can I have a motion? Ms. Sankar, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And just a comment to the applicant, Miigwech, thank you so much for the acknowledgement of, Indigenous lands that we're on. And I wanted to acknowledge you said that. So I will motion to defer this application, sine die, to give you some opportunity to work further on this application.
Thank you. Thank you. Second, Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay. Your application is deferred sine die as requested, and you can deal with the stuff later on, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Number 18, we already deferred it. Number 19. That okay? Item number 19, which is 625 Soudan Avenue. This is to build a new dwelling. Staff report. Wait, what's going on? Staff report. Mr. Malik, hold on. We have some glitch here. We'll go over it, okay? We have the staff report, modify number 6, and condition to develop in per revised east and west side back, and communication from Alec Malik that he's building the length to 17.98. He said as discussed, but we'll go back, we'll go to it. So we have here one more speaker, and Mr. Moderator, is that speaker is online? The second speaker is registered, yeah? Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Malik, we have here another speaker, so we'll have you make a small presentation, and then we'll go back to we'll call you back after that. Okay? So you have 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Ali Malik from Urbanscape Architects and presenting this application on behalf of the owner. As you mentioned, we had a discussion with the staff, and we are changing 2 items in our request variance. Number 3 is going to change to from 0.71 to 0.66. This is due to the reduction of the building length that you already mentioned. So number 6 also changing from 18.97 meter to 17.97 meter. These are the changes that we are making in our application. Just briefly talk about the item number 1, which we are requiring the vehicle entrance through to the front main wall. This is a new change on the zoning bylaw in this area, but as previously approved by this committee, and our office has many projects in Sudan before, and then we all had this kind of approval. I mean, it was originally as part of the zoning. We have the supporting letter from neighbors on 623, 619, 657, and then 655. And then actually they are all having the integrated garage, as well as the other property and houses in this neighborhood just on the same block. I'm putting some of the addresses like a 631, 637, 639, 629. They are all on the same site and then close to the subject property, and then they have integrated garage. I think other variances, number 2, it was already mentioned on the staff report, is due to the side window that we have, and then they want to have the committee to tie these side elevations to the approval, if we may have. And I think the other variances is very minor on the nature, and this is very reasonable proposal for this application. Thank you so much.
Okay. We have another speaker here, and we'll get you back, and we have some questions. Okay. So Vera Khan, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Could you please state your name and address? We need it for records here. If we need you to state it.
Yes, my name is Vera Khan. I'm the owner of 536 Soudan Avenue, which is on the north side of Soudan, directly facing the subject property of 625 Soudan.
Thank you. So Could you please tell us what your concern is, and if you can speak just a little bit louder?
Certainly, and I'll see if I can adjust my mic to pick up the sound a little bit louder.
You're okay now.
Better? Excellent.
You're okay, yes.
Okay, right, very good. So I have spoken to a number of neighbors. I understand that some of my neighbors have signed a letter in support of this. Most of my fellow neighbors do not object to the vehicle entrance number, your variance number 1 or variance, the front entrance. However, the concern is in the building maximum building depth. So item 6, I'm pleased to hear that it's going to be reduced to 17.97 meters. Would like to, my next door neighbor should, or sorry, the next door neighbor also expressed concern about the shadowing on her deck. I don't know if she plans to speak or has written a letter to you to that effect. My concern as the neighbor who faces on the north side is the permitted height of the exterior side walls. It's supposed to be 7.0 meters and the height of the main side walls is instead 8.6 meters. My concern is that this will result in a fairly bulky house that will have sidewalls in excess of its neighbors. We see that the maximum height of the building is 9 meters and the variance there is very minor, but what you'll get is a roof line that is higher than the rest and the sidewalls that tower above that of the adjacent properties. The difference of 1.6 meters is 5 feet 3 inches. In imperial terms, that is quite significant. It's not an entire floor height, but it's pretty darn close to an extra half-story height. And therefore, I would like to request that the design reduce the height of the sidewalls.
That's it?
Yeah, that would be Chapter 10, 1040, 10 bylaw number 569, 2013, the second item.
Okay.
The rest of the items are minor with the exception of the depth of the house, which the adjacent property should speak to, but I do know they had a concern.
Okay, thank you. Any question for this speaker, members? No? Okay, so we'll get back Mr. Malik Zadeh. Would you please come back and respond, and then we can go and move on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I mentioned, the item number 6, the building depth was reduced by 1 meter.
Yes.
That's 3 feet, and then significantly reduced from the original proposal, which also impact to the number on item number 3, which is the floor space index, and then bring it down to 0.66. Regarding to the main wall height, our general main wall height stay as 7.7 meters, which is required by bylaw. And then as you will see on the screen right now, only 2 windows on the side, which we have the 2 bedrooms on the side. And then in order to provide the light as code for these 2 bedrooms, those 2, the height of the windows is exceeding the main wall height requirement, which is 8.6 meters. This one is completely discussed with the staff, and they supporting this, and then they have their own explanation for this request. But the rest of the main wall height stay as the zoning requirement, and then we are not exceeding on that, especially front and then the back of the house. This is very, very minor compared with the whole height of the main wall is going to be 8.6 meters, which is not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So in other words, your number 3, you're changing to 0.66, and number 6, you're changing it to 17.97.
Yes.
Those are the what you're changing. Okay, so members, any questions? Mr. Bartolo, please go ahead.
These amendments to the proposed variances 3 and 6, are they reflected in the drawing set that's in the submission package here?
Yes, they are on both. They are submitted on the revised application.
Thank you. Any other question? If not, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I accept the explanations provided by the applicant here today, such that I'll make a motion to approve this application with the changes made by the applicant, such that variances number 3 now is 0.66 meters, and variance number 6 has been reduced to 17.97 meters. And I will attach it to the August 25th, one of the recommendations of the staff report, that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the revised east and west side elevation drawings that was submitted to the committee of adjustments. That's it.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Bartolo, seconding. All in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved based on those changes you made and based on the condition of the staff report, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. Item number 20, which is 150 Kilgour Road. This is to construct an addition to the rear of the building, levels 4 and 5. 5 variances. TRCA report no impact, no objection. Forestry condition number 2. And staff report, just a condition, the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the drawings attached to the report. 6 letters of support, 3 letters of objections, and yeah, okay. So we have number 20, we have the agent and 5 other speakers for this item. So the agent, Emma West.
Yes, I'm here, and I was wondering if you could open one.
Yeah, could you please just state your name and address, because we need it for the records here.
Yes, Emma West from Bousfields, 3 Church Street, Toronto. I have another image that was one of the supporting documents that I'm wondering if we could use. It just gives more of the surrounding context. If you go, no, it's not that one. I think it's in one of the other PDFs. It was one of the supporting materials. Not in one of the letters. It was a separate PDF. Maybe below, keep going past. Yeah, that one. Yes, perfect. And if you could go to the 3rd page on that, that would be helpful. Next one, that one's great. Thank you so much. Oh, next one up. Thank you. Sorry, the one with the purple and yes, exactly. Okay, shall I get started then?
Go ahead, please. Yeah, you have 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'm a Wester partner. I'm a partner at Bousfields working with Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital on this application. As you've heard, the addition is for an addition at the rear of the building shown in yellow on this figure. So that's to the 4th and 5th floors for additional research space within the building. It's approximately 1,000 square meters, adding to the 31,850 square meter building that exists now. You can see that it's located 55 meters from the west property line and 4.75 meters from the north property line, and that the ravine area is located to the north of that property line, so there's no impact to the ravine by this addition. The location of the addition is really important in terms of Holland Bloorview because it's an extension to the existing research facilities on the 4th and 5th floors. So it needs to be located in this area to be able to be a contiguous addition to that existing research. I know I have limited time, so I'm just going to highlight a few things here. So there are 5 variances. As you will have seen, there's duplication in that because of the 2 bylaws. So it really only deals with 2 matters, the long-term bicycle parking, the setback, and the height. With respect to the setback and the height, the reason that those variances are required is because when the site-specific bylaw was approved in 2002, despite the fact that there was 3,500 additional square meters of gross floor area that would be permitted beyond the building that was constructed and is there today, the zoning schedule only followed the outline of the building that was built. So there was no room for that extra gross floor area to be added in terms of defining where the setbacks were or where the height to accommodate an addition would be. But the gross floor area permits up to 3,500 additional square meters beyond what has been built today. We know that there are letters of opposition. Holland Bloorview has conducted extensive community consultation leading up to where we are today here at Committee of Adjustment. There were 2 community meetings held, one in 2019, one earlier this year, as well as 3 additional meetings with the residents of 21 Burkebrook, Kilgour Estate, which you can see as the darker gray building on this image before you. And through those discussions, we actually went away and conducted additional analysis to help explain that there would be no adverse impact from this addition, and also to make some changes to the plan. I'll just go through those very briefly. I know I don't have too much time left, but I've already mentioned the location being an important part of where this addition is because it is contiguous with the existing research spaces, and this is space for research for Holland Bloorview to expand that capacity. It's located approximately more than 60 meters from the face of the adjacent building, which, as I'm sure you're aware, is significantly greater than what would typically be required if 2 new buildings were going up against each other or an addition would be going near it. We conducted a shadow study, which you've been provided with. There's no net increase in the shadows based on this addition. We also conducted a view analysis study, which you'll find in your package as well, and there's limited and acceptable impact associated with that. We know that light, view, and privacy has been an important consideration. I've addressed the shadow impact. Some of the changes that were made were adding a film to the windows and additional density of fritting on the windows on the west side. And I'll also point out that
okay, Miss West,
the windows on the west side.
Miss West, I'll have to mention you're over the 5 minutes, but we're going to get.
Sorry, I thought because you were getting the presentation up, that wasn't
well,
it.
yeah.
But I'll just finish by saying that it meets the 4 tests. We've done the analysis, and we're here to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to get you back after the other speakers, okay? We'll get you back to answer questions. We have online here Nadia Tanel. Are you there? Nadia Tanel.
Yes, I am here.
Please.
This is Nadia Tanel.
Please state your name and address that we need for the records here.
Nadia Tanel, 7 Browning Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you.
I am
okay.
I don't have much to say, Chair. I am representing Holland Bloorview and here to support Emma West in any questions the committee has.
Oh, thank you. So you're here for support. Okay. So I guess the members won't have too much questions on this. Huh? She's here for support. Okay, the next one is Fabiana Bacchini. I guess it's pronounced Bacchini, eh?
Yes, Fabiana Bacchini, 7 Strathamber Court. Can I continue?
Yeah, please. Go ahead. You have,
okay.
You have 5 minutes. Tell us what's your concern about this application.
I'm actually here in support of the application, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members of this committee, for having me here today. I am a mother of an 8-year-old boy who has spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy and dystonia, which is a condition that causes uncontrolled movement of his arms and legs. Gabriel's disability is a consequence of being born prematurely, exactly 14 weeks ahead of his time, weighing only 2 pounds, and he's alive today because of medical research. And because of the passion of scientists who dedicate their lives to improve the lives of others. There is no cure for my son's condition, which is the most devastating thing a parent has to face, but there is hope, and this is why I'm here today. Holland Bloorview has really become our second home. It is a place where I cried receiving new diagnosis, and a place where I found comfort knowing that I was not alone. It's a place where my son belongs, and where he learned to advocate for himself and to change people's perceptions on disability. It's where we go for ongoing treatment and appointments, and where we participate in research studies. Our family collaborates in research not only hopes to improve my son's quality of life, but also to make a difference in the lives of other families who will come after us. And people might be asking now, why do we need a bigger space for research? Isn't the space they have enough? And the answer is very simple. It's because there's more than 400,000 people living with disabilities in Canada. And when we improve their lives, we improve the lives of families like mine and the community. And Bloorview, for those who don't know, has the greatest concentration of childhood disability researchers in the world. And we need them. We need them to keep learning so the hospital can provide evidence-based treatments, individualized care, and a better quality of life for children like my son, Gabriel. He's an 8-year-old boy who's eager to learn. He loves traveling, he loves to sing, and he wants to dance, but he cannot even sit down or stand on his own. His condition causes him a lot of pain, and doctors cannot work guessing the best treatment or medications for him. It's also not one size fits all. Evidence-based treatments give the doctors the opportunity to provide individualized care for my son so he can live a fuller life. And that's the same for thousands of children whose hospital service every year. And to give an example, Botox, which a lot of people know as a cosmetic treatment, is used as an option for children struggling with spastic muscle movement, like my son, Gabriel. And last year, Bloorview acquired the first child-friendly MRI machine dedicated to research, which will create even more opportunities to improve outcomes. And for those who don't know, Holland Bloorview has achieved so much over the last 16 years, but it's time to grow now. The expansion proposed is small. It's an 11,000 square feet addition. And to put things into perspective, Drake's mansion in that neighborhood is 50,000 square feet. And with all my respect, with no impact in anyone's life. Bloorview Research Institute's expansion will allow scientists to have a much bigger impact, not only my son's life, but in generations to come in Canada and worldwide. This expansion will allow them to continue to bring brilliant minds together, people who are committed to make a difference in the world. And if you think this is only for children, think twice, because the research conducted at Holland Bloorview can and will continue to change lives, no matter how old you are. And denying this space is the same as saying no to inclusion, is to continue to see people with disabilities with less potential. But saying yes to this space is celebrating our differences, is to give people a sense of belonging, is to give families like mine hope. It is to give Gabriel possibility to perhaps in the future use a walker and take that first step. And why not even dream of dancing?
I think you used all your 5 minutes. Could you please summarize?
Sure. I just went saying that hopefully in the future, it is this space to give an opportunity for a doctor to say to a family that there is a cure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think you did send a letter. And
I did send a letter.
Yeah,
yes.
I read your letter. So you're in support. Let me ask the members, any question for this supporter? No? Okay, next one we have Mr. Mark Kimmerer. Are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please state your name and address.
Thank you very much. The name is Mark, M-A-R-C, Kemmerer, K-E-M-E-R-E-R. My address is set out on my letter of 15 September is 95 Barbara Green Road, Suite 100, Toronto, M3C3E9.
Okay, so please tell us what your concern about these variances, and I have put you on thing for 1 minute, okay? for
Thank
5
you.
minutes. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, you will have my letter of September 15th, and you'll know that I represent 72 members of 21 Burbrook Place, which is the building Ms. West spoke about to the west of the proposed addition. That is a significant resident neighborhood opposition to the proposal. That opposition is based on two aspects. One is, this is not a new build. This is not a situation in downtown Toronto where you have buildings facing each other. This is a situation where you purposely have a shrink-wrapped building form. Now, of course, you can have minor variances from that, but what is being proposed is, in our view, not a minor variance. It is a rezoning. And as a result, is not within the purview of this committee and should be denied on that basis. It should be the subject of increased community consultation and application to the City of Toronto for a rezoning. The significant departure from the shrink wrap built form, which again was developed in our submission to protect surrounding residential uses from, to make sure it's compatible with the mixed use. That, in our submission, it should be a rezoning on a minor variance. Secondly, my clients, again, who are numerous in number, support strongly the work of the applicant. They are not opposed to an addition. They're opposed to the location of the addition. Operationally, that addition could be, as the committee has seen, in another part of the site. It's a large site. And operationally, it does not have to be lifted on stilts 4 to 5 stories in the air. It could be from the ground level up. That is technically, architecturally, operationally possible in our submission. And as a result of the proposal and the particular architecture in it, it will have, in our view, significant and adverse impacts, particularly with respect to impacts on light and privacy of the residents. And again, these are residents who support the building and are not necessarily opposed to an addition, but who live in a building where they have the protection of the shrink-wrapped form to ensure there is compatibility between different building forms, different land uses in this particular area. And so, in short, our submissions are twofold. One, this is not a minor variance because of the great increases in height and the great reduction in the setback from 17.3 meters to 4.5 meters. So it is not a minor variance remotely. And secondly, it will, because of its particular architecture, result in adverse impacts on the residents of that building. So for those reasons, we are asking that what would be appropriate, we think, is that the application be adjourned so that there can be further consultation. We don't agree that there's been significant consultation. And in the alternative, we are asking for that the committee deny the application so that it can go back to the drawing board, go back to a rezoning and meet the needs of the applicant. Those are our submissions, and of course, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any question to the speaker? No? Okay, we have one more. Jamie Allman, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, could you please state your name and address that we need you to say for the records?
Yes, Jamie or James Allman, and I'm at 28 Crofton Road in Leaside.
Okay, tell us what's your take on this application, please.
Yes, first of all, I'm in support of this application. I'm a resident of Leaside for the last 10 years and family resident for at least 30 years. Myself and the dozens of neighbors that I'm very, very close friends with, part of the community, and as demonstrated by the no objection letter submitted by the LRA, we are in complete support of this very modest 3% increase in gross floor area. I'd be shocked if the committee needed more than the testimony of the mother of the 8-year-old boy that testified, but I will continue. In addition to the fact that we support this, myself and my family and friends in the area use the Brook Ravine and accompanying walking trails, and they will not be impacted by this, which is fantastic that this hospital can get the congruent space that it needs in the same area of where the research currently resides and have no interruption to this. Why make these doctors and angels' life more difficult for this reason? Holland Bloorview has always been a huge, conscious, and collaborative neighbor and a great relationship with the Leaside community. My son and both of my sons have been there numerous times for numerous events, from swimming lessons to performing as a choir for the resident patients and staff, annual block parties. I could go on and on and on. Holland Bloorview involved the community fully in the planning and design process for over a year, hosting open houses, town halls, distributing a number of mail drops, and keeping all of myself and my fellow Leaside residents up to date on the expansion plans. You know, I do understand that one of the roles of this committee is to assess whether or not this change is desirable or appropriate for development of the site itself and the neighboring lands. You know, this addition will enable Holland Bloorview to expand its research institute and the important research it conducts and healing that it provides. It's not only desirable to the hospital, and I believe there are something like over 8,000 clients of this hospital currently, but to the community where it's located. You know, again, I can't imagine now. I did not see this picture that's up on the screen, particularly in the research that I've been doing and what I've been doing to prepare for this. But this is such a small variance in views and virtually no shadow changes. I'm shocked that you would need any more than again the mother and of the 8-year-old son that already testified to support this. I thank you for your time to the committee and chair.
Thank you. Any question for this speaker? He's in support. Thank you. Next and last speaker here is, is Suzanne Jorish. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, again, the same thing. We'd like you to say your name, please, and address.
My name is Suzanne Jorish. I live at 48 Silkwood Crescent, North York.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your take on this application here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am simply here to share my support for this development. I believe I am also a mother. I won't rate the comments Anna share, but my son and I lived at the hospital for years. I personally did the fantastic work both in impacting how research impacted my son's life, helped him to be able to communicate. He is quadriplegic and nonverbal, and I continue to participate in research and engage in research, and I can express why the location is imperative. Given the structure of that hospital, you cannot move the patient rooms, you cannot move a swimming pool, you cannot relocate all the things that would that this location will allow them to do. And the research that is conducted absolutely changes the lives of so many children. It has changed my life, not only the children, but the families, and they grow up and they become contributing members of society. I cannot overemphasize my support for the Bloorview Research Institute and Holland Bloorview. And just in closing, I want to say they have saved my son's life, and I have witnessed how their research and their incredible new interventions have saved and helped and improved the lives of so many children. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question? Okay, so that's our last speakers after the agent. So we get back the agent. Miss West, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well,
and I apologize for
okay.
background noise. My neighbor is doing construction, so I hope you can hear me. I just wanted to follow up on a few of the comments that were made. With respect to the facing distance, as you would be aware, the bylaw 569/2013, for example, would require a 7.5-meter side yard setback between two buildings. So that would give you a 15-meter separation distance if you had two new buildings, or in addition to any building, would require 7.5 meters, so 15 meters in between. We're over 60 meters away with this addition. That's greater than 3 times a typical local road width. So this is significantly far away from where the 21 Birkbrook building is, which is why all of our analysis in support of no adverse impacts demonstrates that there are no adverse impacts. I'll also address the matter with respect to a minor variance versus zoning bylaw amendment. And in that regard, of course, there is a letter of support from the planning department. And when any application like this comes in, they would make an assessment as to whether or not it would be a minor variance or a zoning bylaw amendment. We have also provided a justification in our planning letter to outline why this is minor in nature as well. So it is appropriate that this is a minor variance. With respect to the building being shrink wrapped, as I had described in my presentation, in fact, there's 3,500 additional square meters that hasn't been built out that is permitted in the bylaw. And of course, we know that oftentimes in bylaw schedules, it follows the outline of the building that is submitted as a part of a site plan application and doesn't provide for any future addition on the site. But if we look at the gross floor area, it actually permits more building than what you could actually fit based on that bylaw schedule, where the height and the setbacks are defined. It's up on the 4th and 5th floor, not at grade, as you've heard. That's location is imperative, I believe one of the other speakers said, because of the proximity to the existing research institute. It doesn't make sense to move this 2 floors down or 3 floors down because this space needs to be adjacent to the existing research area. And changing other parts of the building, you heard another speaker talk about not moving patient rooms or swimming pools. That would be extremely disruptive to the existing functioning of this building, which is a very important institution, not just in the city or this neighborhood, but across the region.
Miss West, I guess.
I'll just
West,
quickly,
okay,
I just have one
please.
more thing to respond to, sorry.
Please summarize.
With respect to the consultation, as you're aware, the typical process would be neighbors would be provided with this notice a minimum of 10 days before. And as I've outlined, there have been 2 community meetings and 3 additional meetings in advance of this. And therefore, there has been extensive consultation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Members, any question? Ms. Sankar? Go ahead, please.
Okay, so through you, Mr. Chair, there are a couple of things that are still in my head around this, and I'm not completely convinced as well. But let's just talk first of all about the parking spaces, the bicycle parking spaces you had in the very beginning of the presentation, something saying that 5 new spaces have been provided. So to me, just from my point of view, I would have thought this would be a simple fix or a simple variance to sort of comply with. How is it that it's saying there's 0 short-term spaces and 0 long-term bicycle spaces when those are very small things to achieve? And I find it conflicting with the diagram you showed in the beginning, saying there's 5 new spaces, but I don't see the change represented in the variances here.
Thank you for that question. Just to clarify, the variance is for 2 long-term bicycle parking spaces. And as you know, long-term bicycle parking spaces need to be located inside the building. The addition actually requires 5 short-term bicycle parking spaces, which are being provided as new bicycle parking spaces outside the building. But given the location of the addition on the 4th and 5th floor, we can't include the new long-term indoor bicycle parking spaces there. It doesn't make sense to have people take their bikes through up to the 4th and 5th floor, and there isn't room in the existing building to accommodate that. And that's why we're looking for those 2 long-term bicycle park spaces variances, whereas we are actually providing, and that was the note on the slide that you probably saw, that we're providing the 5 short-term bike parking spaces outside.
So therefore, you're making a change to variance number 3 such that it now reads 5 short-term biking spaces and 0 long-term. Is that
Just
correct?
to clarify, we submitted a waiver on August 25th that outlined this. It's up on the AIC, so I'm not sure. Maybe you're looking at the zoning. And earlier there were 2 waivers provided, but we provided a waiver on August 25th, and it was also the variances that went out in the notice that listed that there were, the only variance that was required was for the 2 long-term bike parking spaces, and
So
not
unless I'm
the
getting something wrong here, and just to ask through you, Mr. Chair, I'm not sure, but I've only got a September 10th staff report, and that's what I'm referring to.
So yes, on the screen right now, the zoning notice item number 3 says 2 long-term bicycle parking spaces are required and 0 are provided.
Okay, any other question?
I'm sorry to say this, I'm still confused because am I not supposed to be looking at the staff report for my information as the latest context from our planning department?
Well, I think you, and it's obviously up to the.
This is a question actually through you, Mr. Chair, to planning. I need to know, not from the applicant, I need to hear from our planning team if I'm making a mistake here. And I apologize if I am, but this is before me and that's what I use as my latest for decision making.
Mr. Chairman, the wording on the staff report is different than the wording that's on the hearing notice. The staff report states 5 short-term bicycle parking spaces and 2 long-term bicycle parking spaces are required. 0 short-term bicycle spaces that meet the requirement dimensions, and 0 long-term bicycle parking spaces are provided. So the staff report variance and the one that we sent out is different.
Public hearing.
Go by the public hearing notice that's went out to the public.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Sankar, did you hear? You go by the public notice. The staff.
So the
staff report.
Not the staff report?
No.
Okay.
Public
All right.
notice. Public notice. That's the variances they have. And Ms. West, if I recall, you had 2 waivers, one on August 21 and one to August 25th. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Because we did add the 5 new.
Yeah, I saw that.
Short term. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any other question? Okay. If not, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm satisfied with the due diligence done by the applicant here. I agree that there's no adverse impacts on the neighboring community. I think they've done a good job in their presentation and their deliverables here. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application, subject that it be developed substantially in accordance with the drawings attached as amendments 1 through 5 in this application.
Thank you. Do I have second? Ms. Tarodi?
So, and subject to the forestry, correct?
Yes, there's for the forestry condition number 2. Are you okay with that, Mr. Bartolo?
I'm okay with that amendment.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't think there was a condition for forestry.
Excuse me, we're in committee. We have the motion to approve, subject to the staff report recommendation to attach to the plan one and drawings 1 to 5, and subject to condition. Is that your motion? Yeah, Mr. Bartolo.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Mr. Chair? You broke up for a second.
Okay, well, okay, I just repeated your motion, which is subject to the staff report for the attachment to the drawings, and the amendment, friendly amendment for the forestry, which you agree to it. Is that okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do I have?
Yes, I believe they're all advisory comments in the forestry memo. I don't think there's any hard requirements.
Yeah, okay, and,
But yeah, I can
and
accept
second is Miss Tarodi. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Miss Sankar is opposing. Miss West, your application is approved, subject to those 2 conditions. You want me to repeat them, or you're okay?
If you could repeat them,
Okay,
that would be helpful.
okay, the conditions are just the staff report is asking to attach the proposal should be substantially developed in accordance with the attached report drawings, which are attached to the staff report drawings number 1 to 5, and there is a forestry one. So that's all there is. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Number 21, item number 21, which is 75 McRae Drive. We have to construct a 2-story addition at the rear of the existing dwelling, 4 variances, 8 letters of support, and that's it. And and we have just one speaker registered, which is the owner. Megan Sherwin, are you there? Megan Sherwin, are you there? She registered?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we hear you. So please state your name and address for the records here.
My name is Megan Sherwin, 75 McRae Drive.
Thank you. So let me just check with the members if we need any presentation. Do we need any presentation? Any questions? Motion? Okay. Can I have a motion? Ms. Sankar, go ahead, please.
Okay, Mr. Chair, this seems like a very simple application where I do believe it meets the 4 tests, and I'll motion to approve this application as is.
That's it. Second? Do I have second? Mr. Klassen, second. All in favor? Okay, your application is unanimously approved. Are you still? No, there's no conditions, huh? No. No conditions. Hello, are you there?
I am there.
Okay, your application is approved, okay? You have
Thank you, committee.
You have no objection with that, huh?
I do not.
Okay. Okay, number 22, which is the address is 24 Logan Drive. This is to construct a new dwelling, 4 variances, staff report, just a condition to develop according to the site plan. Forestry condition 1 and 2. We have 4 letters of objection, and that's it. So, we have one more. We have 2 speakers here. Kyle Khadra?
I'm here.
Okay, we have one more speaker here, so we'll have you make a short presentation before we move on. So please go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Hello, Mr. Chair. Actually, I went through the comments from the objection parties, and we do not mind proceeding if the committee would consider allowing us to amend the application, because we would like to reduce the variances. But if that's not something that the committee prefers, then we would prefer to ask for a deferral. So our intention is to mitigate the variances a little bit so that the next door neighbors are more satisfied with our proposal.
So are you proposing right now to change the variances or to ask for deferral?
If the committee allows it, we
Well,
would like to
wait,
change the variances.
no, not if the committee. We're not deciding. You tell me what you want to do. Do you want to change the variances or you want to defer?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we'd like that, please. Thanks.
You like what?
We would like to
change.
amend the variances.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. Tell us what you're amending to.
So we would like to eliminate variance number 3, and we would also like to reduce variance number 2, which is the building length, to 18 meters.
Okay, any other change?
Those are the only changes for now. I mean, of course,
Okay,
if
so
hopefully
please,
the neighbors are. Yeah.
Okay, so you have the 5 minutes. It started already before, so give your presentation and we'll move on, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we are contemplating reducing the size of the house to reduce the impact of shadow and visual access on the backyard of the next door neighbors in order to reduce the length of the house. We are able to present the revised drawings right away. We actually have been working on them for a couple of days, and we think that the layout will still be nice and functional with that size reduction. So basically we are pushing the back wall towards the front by almost 1.7 meters and eliminating the building depth variance to just make it in line with the zoning requirements.
Okay, let's get the other.
So,
yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I may just add something about the building height. The building height variance is only triggered from the old zoning bylaw. In terms of the new citywide bylaw, we are complying with the building height. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get you back here and see if we have any questions. In the meantime, we have a Brian. Okay, are you there?
I am.
Okay, so please state your name and correct my pronunciation if your name is that's not I pronounced it. Brian, yeah.
You were close.
Close.
You were close. It's Brian Oak.
Oak. Okay.
Oak, and the address is 22 Logan Drive.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your concern about this application.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. To begin, I would like to confirm that I have provided a letter of objection on this file. It documents several concerns that my wife and I have regarding the proposed new dwelling and its variances. And with my 5 minutes, I don't want to rehash all the details of my letter, so it's certainly my hope that the committee has had an opportunity to carefully consider the arguments that I've presented in the letter. My letter focuses on 2 things. First, the impacts of the proposed variances on us. And second, the proposed removal of a large tree that sits on the property line we share with the subject property. Now, I've spoken with Urban Forestry and Councillor Fillion's office about the tree, and I understand that this hearing is not really the applicable forum to address my tree concerns, so I will defer that particular discussion. So today, I'd like to make 3 points to the committee for the committee's consideration. First, as mentioned, my wife and I live next door to the subject property. We've resided here for 22 years. When we were considering purchasing our property, various amenities that our neighboring property afforded us, including privacy, unobstructed sunlight, spaciousness, and tree cover, all factored prominently into our decision to purchase. The proposed new dwelling will have a profound negative impact on these amenities and indeed on our quality of life. We will experience a dramatic loss of view, loss of sunlight and excessive shadowing, loss of privacy, and likely a drop in property value. And these losses are exacerbated by the proposed building height and building length variances. Now, I realize that like any other homeowner, we are not legally entitled to views and sunlight and privacy. But I question whether the intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained if these long-established amenities that we have enjoyed for 22 years, are allowed to be so abruptly and severely eroded by granting approval of the variances. The second point, it seems to me that the applicant's desire to make this dwelling even longer, taller, and wider than the current bylaw limits is all about being able to build the largest possible house on the property so it can be sold for the maximum profit possible. And this just can't be considered a valid reason for approval of the variances. I challenge the applicant to present to the committee valid reasons why this house needs to be overbuilt. The applicant should be required to explain the necessity behind each variance. Why does it have to be longer? Why does it have to be taller? Why does it have to be wider? And frankly, I heard the suggested amendment that he was going to reduce the length of the house. He still would still require a variance. It's longer than is approved, and I still object to it. And I also don't agree one bit that the height is triggered by an old zoning bylaw, because I believe that old zoning bylaw still applies. And that extra height will have an enormous impact on us when it comes to shadowing and loss of sunlight. Lastly, I'll close with this. Variances, by definition, are changes to what are already approved. For a variance to be approved, I believe the onus should be on the party seeking the change, and that's the applicant, to present a stronger case than that presented by the objectors. I feel the applicant has failed in this regard. I have not heard any compelling evidence today as to why the variances are needed or should be supported, and there are no letters of support in the file. Meanwhile, I see the owners of every abutting property to the subject property, so that's 26 Lurgan, 43 Bevdale, 332 Senlac, and ourselves at 22 Lurgan, have all submitted strenuous objections to the proposed variances. Indeed, the number of objections alone is evidence that proposed variations are not minor in nature. If the committee agrees with me that the applicant has not made a stronger case than the objectors, then I feel the committee is obliged to reject the applicant's proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay, we'll have the agent comes back and to address the concerns. So we have Mr. Khadra, could you come back please and address the concerns here?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. I just want to start with the tree. Although it's not within the purview of this hearing, I want to point out that, of course, we are going to be complying with the requirements of forestry. And if forestry finds that this tree is not to be removed or protected, we will gladly revise the layout to accommodate retaining it. I see that it's partially sitting on the neighbor's property, and I think that we cannot actually get permission to remove it without the support of the neighbor on the other side. So that is something that would be addressed through forestry during the building permit process. In terms of the intent of the bylaw, we have gone through this application on several occasions with the planning department, and initially it was slightly different, and we made some revisions to satisfy planning staff. And as you can see that the planning department issued a letter in support of the application, which is more than enough evidence that the application does meet the intent of the bylaw and the official plan. In terms of, let me see. Yeah, I mean, we are trying our best to keep everyone satisfied. I agree that we're proposing something that is requesting some minor variances, but we are willing to compromise, and I already stated the revised variances, and I would really hope that the neighbors would reconsider and look at what we're proposing, because what we are proposing is in fact minor and is in line with the neighborhood in overall. The house that we're proposing is not substantially larger or longer than most of the houses in the area, even before we are proposing the amendments. Thanks.
Okay, so just to move on, could you please go over the changes that you wanted to make to these variances here? Which one you're changing?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're changing variance number 2.
2.
So yeah, variance number 2, instead of 19, let me just see here.
19.12?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Instead of 19.12, we're going to reduce this to 18 meters. And variance number 3, we are completely removing this variance.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
You're welcome.
any questions for this speaker? He's changing number 2 to 8 meters and removing variance number 3. Any question? If no questions, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Sanka, Ms. Tarodi?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 1, I would like to add this part at the end of the variance, that the proposed west side yard setback is 1.2 meter for the first 6 meter from the front of the proposed dwelling, and increase to 1.8 meter toward the rear. The wording, I want to add that. Variance number 2, I would like to change it. The proposed building length is now 18 meter as per applicant request. Variance number 3 eliminated and subjected to forestry.
Very good. Okay. Did you see the staff report condition there? In accordance with
yes, but because
they've
we are
been
there
changing
changing the length,
Right.
so probably we cannot attach
You
it
cannot
to that.
attach. Perfect. Okay.
No.
Can I have a second, please? Ms. Sankar, secondly. All in favor? Okay. Your application is approved based on those changes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Item 23, which is 57 Mackey Avenue. And this is to construct a new dwelling, 10 variances, including a 3-story variance. Staff report to build in accordance with the west and with east and west section, and the forestry condition 2 and 3, and 1 letter of objection from 55 Mackey Avenue. We have here one more speaker, and the agent, Mr. Nilofar Sultani.
Yes, Mrs. Nilofar.
Oh, okay. Can you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, my name is Nilofar Sultani from KH Davis Engineering, and the address is 1468 Danforth Avenue.
Okay, so we have one more speaker here. So in that case, we'll ask you to make a short presentation, and then we'll have you back after we speak to the other person, okay? So please go ahead.
Okay.
You have 5 minutes to tell us the merit of your application.
Okay, before I start, there is actually a typo in the notice sent out to the public. Variance number 5 is actually a mix of 2 different variances. So it's the coverage variance and the roof eve variance. The chapter 10.5.46.7 is actually the roof eve variance that we're encroaching 1.08 meters. So, and then they mixed it with the lot coverage. And I really don't want to defer this because of this typo.
No.
Item number 1 and 2 are duplicate as well.
Okay. You get us all working here, so let's wait a second and see what you got here.
Okay.
Did you get it, Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer? Yeah. One is for the front and one is the back.
Okay. Yeah. But not the number 5 is 2 different variances.
Yeah. Are you looking at the public notice, Miss?
Yes.
So are you saying that you don't need a variance to lot coverage?
I do. It's just there are 2 different variances I need. One is for the roof eave, that's the chapter number on the lot coverage. And then the lot coverage has a different chapter number. So it's merged into one. Yeah.
Okay, we can change that.
Yeah. Okay.
And now, is there a variance missing?
Yeah, well, they're mixed into one. So the roof eave is not explained anywhere. That I'm encroaching 1.08 meter instead of 0.9.
23. Yeah, so what should we change in the current variances? Nothing.
Yeah, item number 7.
Because the variance is missing, either can you remove it or the application has to be deferred?
Oh, if it's removed, is a good change.
We're asking her to answer.
Well, I can't really remove it because it's related to all the other variances.
Okay, so then the application needs to be deferred so we can send out a notice with the proper variance.
Proper notice, yeah. Did you get that?
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have to entertain the deferral to see if you to see, then you can come up and address the concern of the variances, how they
Okay, so do I have to apply again? Do I have to apply again? How does it work? I haven't done a deferral.
No. You contact staff and
Yeah.
they'll tell you what to do.
We don't give a date here. You contact the staff and then you'll see what's available for the next meeting. Okay. So.
Okay, perfect.
Members, we have a request here for deferral in order to address the concern of the mix-up in the variances. Okay,
Mr. Chair, if I may, prior to a motion, we do have a deputant that wishes to speak to this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, Graham Barrett, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon, committee members, Mr. Chair. I've been retained by the neighbors at 55 Mackey. They had some concerns about this application, but I have had numerous conversations with the designer and a compromise has been arrived at where they've agreed to remove 2 windows and reduce the chimney breast encroachment variance.
Hold it. Before we go on here, could you please just restate your name and address so we can move on? Your name and address.
Graham Barrett, 1575 Dundas West.
Okay, now, before we go to the application, all we have here is a request for deferral. That means we're not going to be discussing it today if the members decide to defer it. So we're not going to discuss it today. If we defer it, then you'll be notified for the next hearing.
Yes, we certainly have no objection to a deferral for them to fix this minor problem.
That's it. That's all we know at this point, okay?
Yep.
You're okay? All right.
Yes, sir.
Members, we have a request for deferral. Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Satarodi had okay, go ahead.
Okay. Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to defer this application, sine die, so that the city can add the missing variance.
To address the variances. Thank you. Second, Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay, your application is unanimously deferred, sine die, and you can check with the staff when is the next one, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Item number 24, which is 3 Cameron Crescent. We have here to permit the construction of a first floor, second floor, and third floor addition. 6 variances. Staff report just to develop in accordance with the exterior side walls as shown on the left and right side elevation drawings. And we have 12 form letters of objection. 12 form letters. So.
Sorry.
Okay, okay.
So my name is Saba Methno. I'm from QBS Architects, and we have 12 letters of support, actually, not objection.
Yeah, I said 12 letters of no objection.
Oh, yes.
They said, they didn't say support, they said no objection. So we have
no objection.
12 letters form of no objection. Okay, so there is nobody else speaking here. Let me ask the members, do you need any presentation? No? Okay, can I have a motion? They have 12 letters of no objection, which means support. So can you please, can I have a motion? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I'll motion to approve this application as is.
That's it. Are you entertaining the staff report, the condition?
Oh, this
develop in accordance with the
this will be, yes, developed to the September 9th staff report, that it's developed in accordance with the exterior side wall heights as shown on the left and right side elevation drawings.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct. Thank you. Second, I don't see the, oh, Miss Atarodi, I see her there in the corner. All in favor? Okay. Unanimously. So moved by Ms. Sankar, seconded by Ms. Atarodi, and unanimously. Okay. Yeah, your application is unanimously approved. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, with that condition.
Sure.
Item number 25, 269 Young Boulevard. So we have here to construct a new dwelling, 4 variances, staff report to provide a permanent opaque screening, 1.5 meters, and we have 5 letters of support, all from Young Boulevard, which is the same street. So, Miss Evangelista, are you there?
Hi, Mr. Chair. Ida Evangelista on behalf of the owner of 269 Young Boulevard.
Okay, thank you. Let me see here. We don't have any other speaker. Members, do we need any presentation? No? Okay. Any question or just motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I think that it meets the 4 tests with this application. I'll motion to approve the application, and it will be subject to the staff report that is dated August 25th, that the applicant is to provide permanent opaque screening or fencing along the south edge of the proposed rear deck with a minimum height of 1.5 meters from the floor. And that's my motion.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay. Your application is approved unanimously, okay? Subject to the condition. Subject to the condition mentioned, okay?
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. Item 26, which is 337 Hopewell Avenue. This is to build a second-story addition, 2 variances. Staff report provide again a permanent opaque screening, 1.5 meter, and we have 1 letter of support from 345 Hopewell Avenue. Now, we have 1 more speaker here. So, Rick Bongers, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
Rick Bongers, 75 Redwood Avenue. I'm here as agent on behalf of the homeowners.
Thank you. We have another speaker here, so we need you to make a very short presentation, and then we'll call them and we'll call you back, okay? So
Okay.
tell us the merits of your application, please.
We are adding a second-story addition to the single-family dwelling. For the second floor, we're staying basically within the limits of the existing house. We're also proposing.
Mr. Chair, if I may interject, Mr. Dan Green, the deputy, is not present.
Oh, he's not present. No. Okay. All right. We have the. I'm informed here that the other speaker is not registered, or registered and not showing up. So, members, do we need a full presentation here? No. Okay.
Now, can I speak? Can I speak on behalf of, or can I speak on the planning report with respect to the privacy screen?
Okay.
Typically, those privacy screens are recommended on the rear of the dwelling. In this case, I don't feel it's needed on the front of the house because what the homeowners will see on that front veranda, it's nothing compared to it. It's quite similar to what they would see looking out their front window. So,
okay. They're suggesting it along the west edge of the proposed porch. So what you're saying, you don't want to do it.
Yeah, we'd rather not have to do that.
Well, let's see what the members say. Members, any question to the speaker or motion? And he doesn't want to do the fencing along the thing. So, can I wait, Mr. Bartolo?
Mr. Chair, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application without restriction. I agree that the opaque screening on the west end is not really going to make a difference for privacy or anything on that.
Thank you. There is no other condition here. Can I have a second, please? Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay. Your application is approved without that condition, okay?
Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
Okay. 27, 350 Helhurst Boulevard. This is to construct interior alterations to convert integral garage to a living space. So it has 2 variances. Transportation has no objection, except, okay, well, what do we have here? We have just 1 speaker. Mr. Carlo Salazar, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, just repeat, state your name and address, please.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Carlos Salazar, and I'm the authorized agent on behalf of the homeowner.
Okay, you're the only 1 speaker. We'll be seeing what's happening. By the way, the transportation submission with the no objection they showed that building as 30 Helhurst. It's not 30, it's 350. Is that belong to the same building, or is something different, or is just a mistake?
Can you repeat that?
The letter that the transportation submitted, they showed the address as 30 Helhurst, not 350.
No, it's 350.
So it's just
So
a
they made a mistake.
Just a typing.
Yeah, it's a mistake.
Typing mistake.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So we don't have any other speaker. Any question for this agent? I'm sorry, I don't see the screen is blocked. Hold 1 second. I don't see it. I want to see the members. Huh? Oh, now it's okay. Okay. So any question for this speaker? No? Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, I think that this is a simple application that does meet the 4 tests in my view. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
That's it. Okay.
Yes.
Second? Mr. Bartolo, second. All in favor? Okay, your application is approved.
Great. Thank you
Okay.
very much, committee members.
Thank you. 28, which is 16 Bradgate Road. This is to construct a new dwelling, 2 variances, 4 letters of opposition. And we have here 28. We'll see if there's anybody else to speak here. Yeah, we have one more person to speak here. Mr. Moderator, is Ronald Kilgour is there? He's available. Okay. All right, Mr. Andrew Malouf, could you please state your name and address here?
It's Andre Malouf, 179 Lord Seaton Road, Toronto. I'm here on behalf of the owner.
Thank you. We have one more speaker here. So if you like to make a small presentation, I'll give you your time here. 5 minutes, and I'm starting it right now. Please go ahead.
Yes, this is a straightforward. I'm looking for a 4.5% coverage for the property, and there's nothing we can do. It's a very small lot, and then we only put in 3,000 square feet house, so there's not much there we can do.
Okay, that's it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll get you back after we speak to the other person. We have here Mr. Ronald Kilgour. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, just state your
Okay,
name.
my name is Ronald Kilgour. I live at 14 Bradgate Road, North York, Ontario.
Thank you. So tell us please what's your concern about this application, and you have, we'll allocate you the time here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I've lived next door to this house with my front door facing that house. I've attached a picture to the letter where you can see that that house is a mirror image on the right of our house. We shared the driveway with our neighbors. We know the house well. The house was originally, that's there, will have to be destroyed in order to put up the house that's seeking the minor variance. The houses were both designed by an eminent architect, Henry Fleece, as part of the original design and careful planning of Macklin Hancock in the 1950s that established Don Mills as the first planned community in Canada of less expensive houses with outstanding architecture. Our house is a 1-story house, which is split. So there's 6 steps up from the level down, 6 steps down. It was the first of these kind of houses. Many were built throughout Don Mills. They occupy the footprint that's allowed within the zoning laws. They fit within the zoning laws. Houses like this have been added on, have been improved, kitchens have been redesigned, and so on. These houses have not been torn down, to my knowledge. This will be a precedent. The current owner has not occupied it. It was sold in July of last year. The real estate agent who sold it came to our house and apologized for selling it to a developer. There's nothing we could do about who they sell it to. But I want to read you just a brief line from John Sewell, who said, when these houses were designed and the streetscape was designed, great consideration was given to architectural and other design elements. In order to ensure a high standard of design, all houses would have to be built by architects approved by the company, and only approved materials could be used. It goes on. I've led tours of the neighborhood and other people's have, and this has been a strength of the zoning, that it has allowed this kind of development to remain intact, largely because of the zoning that makes it a community and a city official plan making sense. The general intent of the purpose of the zoning bylaw is to protect the neighborhood, to make the houses that are here harmonious with one another, not blocking each other, not randomly put in because they can be built. In fact, I heard the other speaker mention they're building it because they can and they need a bigger design. I didn't see any design. The builder and the planner did not contact any neighbors. I have no idea why that house that is being put there has been there. It requires several variances to fit within the city's zoning bylaws, but not within the character of the neighborhood. There are lots of ways to do better. There are lots of ways to build within the variances and to be within the four principles. It's not appropriate for the development of the land or the building because it just is orthogonal to what should be there, and it's not minor. It changes things in many ways. It requires a demolition. It requires expanded footprint by 20%. 25% to 30% is a 20% increase. It's not a 5% increase. These are major changes. The additional changes to the front setback mean that the house will protrude beyond the houses that are there. The original house is forward of what should have been in the first place, but that was part of the Hancock design. For that reason, we object to the proposal and request that the variances not be granted.
Thank you for your submission. Just to let you know, this committee, we decide on applications based on the fourth test of the Planning Act, and selling a house or not selling a house is not one of them. It's if they didn't have these variances here, they can still go and build it and sell it and do whatever they want. It's not our concern. Our concern is the variances that are in front of us, and that's what we're looking upon. So I'll ask the members if there is any question for this speaker before we call the gentleman. No? Okay. So we have here Mr. Kilgour, yeah, Ronald Kilgour. Could you come back, please? No, Andrew Malouf. Could you?
Yeah,
could you?
You see, the half of the street is already. There's about 10 houses already new on the street. It's not like I'm the only house on the street. There's so many of them like there. And we're not asking for a miracle. We're only asking for just 4.5%. I don't know what his problem is. I got to build a house anyway. So.
Okay, so you don't have anything to add as far as they're concerned about the variances that are beyond the zoning bylaw that's supposed to be tapered?
Nope.
No.
I'm already giving him side yard of 7 feet on each side.
Okay.
And then the driveway, I'm putting the house, the new house is going to be in line within the zoning bylaw, like in whatever the old bylaw is.
Okay.
So I don't know what's the problem.
Okay. The question is just if you don't want to change anything. So let me ask the members any question for the speaker or motion. Can I have motion, Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I've noted what the speaker, the person descending on this application had indicated. And in looking at the public correspondence from the Don Mills Residents Association, this is a very specific area And with that in mind, I'm going to make my motion to approve the application. However, I'm going to approve it with one change, and that is that the variance to the front yard setback, that is variance number 2, is going to be increased to 7.7 meters as is requested of the Don Mills Residents Association. So it's just a little bit more of an increase, but that's going to be my motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, changing the setback from 7.4 to 7.7, right? Thank you. Second?
That's correct.
Second? Do I have a second for that? Ms. Atarodi, second. All in favor? Okay. Your application is unanimously approved based on a small change for the front yard setback. Instead of 7.4 that you asked for, it'll be 7.7. Okay?
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have
Have
a
a
nice
good day.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks.
Item number 29, which is 20 Crossburn Drive. We have to construct a rear addition, 3 variances, forestry condition number 2, TRCA, no objection. So, Mr. Simon West, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Just your name and address, please, for the records.
My name is Simon West. I live at 382 Indian Grove, Toronto.
Thank you. So we don't have any other speaker. The members, are we? Do we need a presentation?
Yes, I appreciate a presentation.
You want a presentation? Okay. Mr. Simon West, one of our members requested a presentation, so please make a brief one. I'll give you your 5 minutes.
Okay, I don't think it'll take that long, but
okay,
so
good.
Hi, members of the committee. So what we're proposing here is a replacement of an existing solarium, which is now starting to rot and becoming unsafe. We're going to be replacing it with a new 1-story structure, which is similar in height to the existing solarium. The side yard setbacks are exactly the same. The footprint is exactly the same. The only difference would be there is a small projection to the right side, or to the walkway side where the garage is, which is a small roof projection, which is actually no deeper than the actual projection of the existing roof of the house of the garage. This unfortunately encroaches into the side yard setback, therefore causes a variance. I have been talking with the ravine people. I have been talking with forestry, and there's no issues going on there. All I had to do is make a forestry application, and we should be set for moving forward with this project. The existing house was built sometime, I believe, in the 20s, where the side yard setback at that time was different than the side yard variance that's in the variances right now. So that's what explains the side yard setback as being an issue now. It wasn't back in those days. There is an existing bush just to the south, which is protected by an existing chain link fence, which will further have to be protected under the Ravine Act. But once again, the Ravine people have no issues. The existing solarium right now is being used as a dining room, and that's what it will be used for in the future. The existing patio is going to remain as is. It's not going to get larger. It's not going to get smaller. It might have to be rebuilt just slightly, just because of excavations for the foundation, which we're not sure at this time if it's a full foundation that's there or if it's a slab on grade system. But that's more of a building construction. That's pretty much my proposal. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for them.
Thank you. You're right. You took only less than 2.5 minutes. Okay. Members, any question for this gentleman? No? Okay. Can I have Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Satarodi, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to approve this application with no other conditions.
Okay, there's no conditions. Second, do I have a second?
Isn't, sorry, Mr. Chair, friendly amendment, isn't forestry applicable?
Yes, forestry condition. Ms. Sankar, Ms. Satarodi, you have a condition to the condition forestry number 2. Okay, second. Who's second? Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, unanimously. Sir, your application is unanimously approved based on just
That's
on
great. Thank you very
forestry.
much.
Just on forestry.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 30, which is 535 Old Orchard Grove. And this is to construct a detached one-story cabana, 3 variances, 1 letter of opposition from 524 De Lorraine, and 2 letters of support from 537 Old Orchards and 522 De Lorraine. Forestry, condition number 2. And here we have registered we have one more person registered here. So, Gina Rogakos, are you there?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Foderick is going to be representing the applicant.
Okay. So who's representing could you please state your name and address, please?
Yes, hello. Thank you, committee. Michael Foderick, F-O-D-E-R-I-C-K. I'm the lawyer representing the applicant.
Okay.
With your permission.
Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
So we have one more speaker here. So please go ahead. You'll have 5 minutes to make a presentation and give us the merits of this application.
Thank you. The address is 535 Old Orchard Grove, and it's a single-family detached house that it's north of Lawrence and Bathurst area. All the variances you see today are related exclusively to landscaping in the backyard and the construction of a new ancillary structure, in particular a cabana. We've submitted some supplementary pictures and plans and things which are going to help explain our position, which are an attachment, I believe, to the committee's materials. We are aware of the forestry condition. We have no objection to that. Turning to the 3 variances, the first variance is a lot coverage variance. The as of right is 30%. The proposed is 34.95%. I'll go through the 3 variances in order. Starting with that variance, lot coverage, as you know, in layman's terms, it's kind of the bird's eye view of the lot and how much of the lot is covered by structures. Less than 5% of such a variance is, I think, prima facie quite minor. This variance is triggered as much by the proposed ancillary building as it is by the covered porch, which was recently renovated on the back of the house. All those things contribute to this. When you look at the full image of this street, of this neighborhood, I think those who are on the committee are mostly familiar with this neighborhood. You'll see that the lot coverage of existing buildings typically exceeds the 30%. The main structure alone, even before you account for all the garages and the sheds and the dog houses and all that stuff, and the covered porches and whatnot, often it's over 30%. So it's no surprise that there is voluminous precedent, including on Old Orchard, including on the street behind, including in the immediate vicinity of this property, for lot coverage variances far in excess of what's being proposed here. And to be quite honest, I think, especially when it comes to some of these smaller structures, like erecting a shed that you might have bought at Home Depot or whatnot, I'm not sure everyone is actually applying for variances at all. Just the approved ones we know of, as I said, it's ubiquitous. So I think it clearly meets this 4 test for that reason. Moving on to the second variance, this is a rear yard soft landscaping provision. The as of right is 50%. We're proposing 42.8%. Again, we believe that's a minor difference. Again, when people are re-landscaping and putting a new patio in, they don't normally even come in for variances. We are, though. And I really think there are 2 intents and purpose of this provision. When we talk about a rear and soft landscaping, one intent and purpose is clearly aesthetically pleasing. You want the backyard to be aesthetically pleasing. The other intent and purpose is drainage. I think it's implicit there is that soft landscaping drains better than hard landscaping. Well, if that is truly, if I have that right as the intent and purpose of the bylaw, aesthetically pleasing. Clearly that box is being checked. The intent and purpose is being maintained. You can see by some of the pictures, this is a beautiful renovation. It's going to be, not to say anything about our neighbors, but it's going to be one of the most beautiful in the neighborhood when it's done. So the aesthetically pleasing aspect of the intent and purpose is clearly satisfied. In terms of the drainage, again, I clearly that's met here. There happens to be a large pool in the backyard. So all of the landscaping and drainage and patio stones and whatnot are graded and drained in such a way as that it's automatically not going to flood. It is very conducive to make sure that it drains properly because of that pool. So if that is really a sort of secondary intent and purpose of that provision, I think clearly, again, it's satisfied. And again, for those familiar with construction of such patios, you know about the layers of gravel and whatnot underneath that are specifically designed so that they drain in such a way that it, when flooding leaves the pool or water leaves the pool, it doesn't flood anyone, go anywhere it should go. I would just say that it's important to note, I think, that there is a soft landscaping border around the perimeter, right? So that's important to note. Finally, in respect of the last variance, this is a quirky variance, and what it basically says is that if you have a lot greater than 45 meters in depth, you must set back from the rear lot line certain ancillary structures. And that's all lots over 40. We are unfortunately a 46-meter long lot. So we just crossed that threshold. As I think everyone here knows, if you have less than 45 meters, there's a 0 setback permitted. So unfortunately, it's on a technicality, we've been caught on this. We're proposing to set it back from the rear lot line. And by the way, you have to set it back the equivalent of half the height of the structure, which in this case is 1.58 meters. We are prepared to set it back 0.76 meters. And I'll just add that after having noted the objection from the neighbor, we are prepared to even lower the height of the structure a foot. It doesn't affect the variance, but it does sort of affect the performance standard against which it's judged. So that's a change that you'll see reflected in the red line drawings we submitted, and a change we'd be happy to do. And I think it's very important to note that as I reach the end of my time that, by the way, that would equal a variance of 0.67 meters, which is, I would submit, de minimis. And again, if the lot was a meter shorter, you could do it on the 0 lot line. The final thing I'll say is that what's not illustrated on the plans, perhaps, there's a pool cover that has to be located at the south end, and it would make it very difficult, constrained if we were to move the structure forward to be able to walk between a pool and this cabana. So we wouldn't want to have to walk around the back of it or something like that. So that's the reason we propose it is, and we hope that you agree that it meets the 4 test. And of course, I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. We'll get you back after we speak to the other speaker, okay? So we have here Elaine Salisbury. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Okay. Could you please state your name and address?
My name is Elaine Salisbury. I live at 524 Deloraine Avenue, directly behind 535 Old Orchard Grove.
Yes, so could you please tell us what's your concern, and I'll give you your time to express your concern.
Thank you. Our property is the one most seriously affected by variance number 3, and I'm speaking in opposition to it and also to variance number 2. I hope the committee's had an opportunity to read through the submission my husband and I emailed to the committee last week. It contains a complete explanation of our concerns along with pictures and a professional opinion on the negative impact that this variance would have on our property's values. This cabana falls under the zoning bylaw for ancillary buildings, as was said. Most ancillary buildings in our neighborhood are sheds for pool pumps or garden storage. This is a very big ancillary building, 32 square meters, the size of a cottage bunkie or a small condo in downtown Toronto. The applicant is seeking your approval to build this structure 0.76 meters from our lot line. We could find no similar precedent in this neighborhood. This cabana will contain a toilet, sink, an open shower, a change room, a sauna, and a pool pump storage room, as well as a sitting area. The drawings amended just last week show a structure that's 2.84 meters or 9 feet 4 inches shown on the drawing, which would reduce the zoning setback requirement in the notice from 1.58 meters to a minimum of 1.42 meters from the lot line. However, the fact that the applicant has lowered the height by 0.3 meters or 1 foot is really immaterial because he's already built his concrete foundation without a building permit. He installed all the plumbing and drain pipes plus roughed in electrical service. It runs 9.14 meters along the lot line, and it was built even closer to the lot line than the requested variance. It sits 0.56 meters from the lot line. The only discussion we ever had with the applicant was over the replacement of an existing 5-foot fence. He said he needed 6 feet because of his pool. The applicant replaced the fence with a 2.18 meter high fence and then raised the level of his property with gravel and paving stones. The original grade at the lot line between our properties was level. The concrete foundation was built 0.53 meters above the grade of our backyard. The proposed building on this foundation will rise almost 3.35 meters higher than our property. I'm glad that the applicant has submitted pictures because you can see how protected his neighbors to the east and west are from this cabana. Even the other neighbor to the south is protected by foliage. The dense foliage in these yards is extreme. It covers most of the site of what this building will be. You can barely see other houses, if at all, but you can sure see ours. The neighbor to the west, the only one who submitted a letter of support before the deadline, would enjoy a setback of 4.2 meters behind a tall fence and a cedar garden that was just planted by the applicant. You can see there's nothing but bare fence along the lot line with our property. The before and after pictures we provided in our written submission show how the applicant has virtually clear-cut his property. As well as the visual eyesore of this huge wooden structure rising 1.22 meters above the fence, with plumbing vents rising even higher, we would have the noise of a toilet, an outdoor shower, and a sauna in direct unobstructed line 10 meters from our patio. The open shower would also deprive us of the privacy of our backyard. If this variance is allowed, we will completely lose the quiet, private use of the backyard that we've enjoyed for over 40 years. Variance 3 is not a minor variance for the zoning bylaws. This is a blatant disregard for the bylaws, and it would set an alarming precedent in our area. The pictures submitted by the applicant also clearly show his extensive lot coverage in concrete and paving stones, which leads to our concerns for variance 2. There is no allowance for soft landscaping behind the proposed cabana, and there certainly is no room for it now. They have built their full concrete foundation 0.56 meters from the fence. We are worried about the threat of rain and snow melt draining into our yard as a result of 3 factors. First, the 39 square meter cabana roof sloping toward our backyard. Second, the deficiency of soft landscaping available to absorb water. And third, the raised elevation of the subject property allowing water runoff into ours. We don't want our small backyard to turn into a swamp. We respectfully request that the committee refuse this application. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. You're over 5 minutes. You're okay.
Thank you.
Members, any question for the speaker? No? Okay, we'll get back the agent. Could you please come back, Mr.
Poderick, yes. Thank you for that, Mr. Speaker. There are 4 neighbors which abut directly on the property. 3 of the 4 have either written in support or indicated they don't object. This is the one neighbor who does. If you read the submission from the neighbor, listen, there's clearly a long history. There's some bad blood between them. It relates to many of the things that were raised by my friend, trees and grading and whatnot. None of that's the subject of a variance. I would really urge the committee, because I don't intend to spend any time rebutting all of that. Suffice it to say, there are 2 sides to that story, but I urge the committee not to weigh that in their decision, because I'm focusing on the variances, and that's what I hope the committee focuses on as well. And I understand why the neighbor's upset about all of that, but that's not relevant in my view. In terms of the drainage, I think it's a bald allegation to suggest that it will drain into the neighbor's backyard. That would be contrary to the municipal code. If anyone were to propose that, no one has suggested it will. The neighbor may not know that there is almost, I'm told by the landscaper, 8 foot deep bed of soft landscaping that underpins what you see there. So it's designed to drain well. The allegation that the roof will slope towards her property is not correct. It is a flat roof with scuppers. It is not designed to drain in any direction. I believe that might be a simple misunderstanding, and I hope it is, because I can assure them that it drains to scuppers that will be directed in an opposite direction of her property. So there's no chance that she's going to be flooded in that regard. And in fact, frankly, given the fact that it hits the roof and scuppers, it's going to be no rain that hits that spot is going to be in any way directed to her. So it's going to be a good situation. In terms of the view, I mean, the pictures, I think picture on page 7 of my friend's submission sort of tells the whole story. To be honest, the bottom picture, if that could be pulled up again, there is a fence, a high one that already exists. And so this cabana structure is only going to protrude about a meter, right, above that fence. And again, it's the variance in question doesn't stop us from having a structure that height. We're only asking for it to be 0.67 meters, so less than a meter closer to her than it is. So it's almost imperceptible. You know, when we consider these things, I'm thinking from the perspective of light and privacy. Light is obviously a non-issue because we're to the north, so sunlight is not an issue for her. There's no way this thing will in any way obstruct sun to them at all. In terms of privacy, frankly, it increases the privacy of anything. Any suggestion about a washroom and all of that, this is going to be totally screened. There will be no visibility, anything at all. It's going to be a beautiful decorative surface, is what my friend will see in that small peak that peaks up above the roof. And then in terms of view, I mean, if you look at that picture, it's a view of our property that my friend has of our house, and you see the black line kind of delineated by the existing porch. That's basically what you're going to see, more or less, right? It's just that black line. Instead of being the existing porch in the distance, it's going to be closer, but there's a black line. So it'll increase my friend's privacy, if anything. So I don't consider that something that I would be particularly concerned about. Again, when we talk about precedent in the neighborhood, ancillary buildings in Toronto are typically built on a 0 lot line. It's only in this rare case where you have lots that are in excess of 45 meters, which to our detriment, we are slightly larger than, that a variance like this is even triggered at all. So if I submit that if we were to push the structure back by an additional ½ meter, it wouldn't change my friend's perception in any material way of it. I think in both cases it would be immaterial and de minimis, but it would significantly interfere with the ability to walk around the pool, as I said, right, which is a problem, and it would force us perhaps to walk around the back of the cabana, which would not be a preferable change. So I really urge the committee to consider this, and I would say that please, I urge you to disregard some of my friends' comments that relate to things that are immaterial, I believe, to this application, and I'm happy to take any other questions you have.
Thank you. Members, any question to the speaker? Ms. Atarodi, please go ahead.
So how much is the existing, to you, Mr. Chair, how much is the existing lot coverage of the existing building?
I can answer that. There is, you have materials in front of you which show a site plan drawing, and I'm going to call that up right now. If you were to look at that, bear with me. It's I have it on my screen. I don't know if it's a site plan type of document that's submitted, and it shows the existing dwelling being 145 square meters. The existing covered porch being, it breaks it down, covered patio, et cetera, equaling 34.95. So I'd have to pull out my calculator here a moment, but it's 145. The existing dwelling is 145 square meters of 221 square meters, which equals the 34.95%. So unfortunately, I don't have the percentage without giving me a moment to pull up my calculator. But I'll tell you that in just a moment as I do that calculation.
Yeah. That's a good question.
It's the existing dwelling is pardon me, hold on. 100, because it's the total lot area is 632 square meters. And then 1, 4, 5, 23, call it.
Sorry?
23%.
No, that's
the structure. That's the structure. That does include both porches. That doesn't include any kind of, that's just the actual structure without any of the other porches and things on the front or back. If we were to add that in, I'm just going to ballpark it, you'd be up around 27-8%, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh, 27%, and here is
roughly. Yeah,
Okay.
if you include the porches and whatnot.
Okay, roughly 27.
Yeah,
27.
I'm told by my client that, the applicant, it's actually 30% bang on, pardon me. The existing structure, when you include all the others, I'm told it's 30% bang on is what I've been advised.
So you're adding 4%. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, does that answer the question, Ms. Satarodi?
Yes, so as far as I understood, the existing structure is 30%.
Yes.
And they're asking for just
24.
almost 5% increase.
About 5%, yeah. 4.9.
That's good. And I'll add that in the previous renovation we did, we took full advantage of the zoning bylaw amount. So that's why it's 30, but that's how we're sure it's 30%, and that's why it's 30%.
Yeah, okay. Any other question? If there is no question, can I have a motion, please?
Well,
I don't
okay, yeah. So, Mr. Chair, I will, this is obviously a difficult situation. I'm not fully convinced it's minor under the Planning Act, so I will move to refuse the application.
I have a motion from Mr. Klassen to refuse. Do I have a second? No, there is no second. That motion has failed. Can I have another motion, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application.
There is a forestry.
Apologies, I muted myself there. I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application.
You're okay with the you're okay with the condition of this forestry?
Yes. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the requirements of the urban forestry model.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Sankar, second. All in favor? Okay. Opposed? We have 2 opposing and 2 for. Okay, well, you want to give me some work today, eh? Okay, I read the letters of support and letter of opposition, and the letters of support, both of them are on board because they say that the equipment which is now outside could be well housed in a cabana, which will improve the area. As far as the back one who is opposing, I understand, and I'm sympathetic, but the value of the property going down or something like that is a different story. So I'll move with the motion and approve the application subject to the condition of forestry. Okay? So, sir, your application is approved subject to the forestry conditions.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, break?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a short recess here. What do we need? 10 minutes?
Sure.
10 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes break, and we'll come back within 10 minutes, okay? You also can have coffee. How is going so far? Fast? It's going, it's fine with you, it's not fine with them. I'm watching here, I'm sitting here, and all I'm watching is the queen. She's in front of me. Could you do something? I'm sitting here, all I'm watching is the Queen. By the way, I'm very fond of the Queen. I have a whole collection of the kingdom. I have 300. I'm not for the reason I started with the collection. I have 400 pieces.
Do you watch the show then? There's a series
No, I didn't.
on the whole based on the true story, but I don't know what it's called. The Crown? The Crown. I think, I don't know if it's Netflix or something. Maybe it's not.
No, I didn't. Yeah, she's okay.
It's like 112, but come on.
Yeah, and she's not deciding anything for us anyway. It's just a figure. We should write her. Let her the committee decide that we don't want her. Ladies and gentlemen, we're resuming our session here. And we're in application number 31, which is 117 Wanless Avenue. This is to construct a two-story addition at the rear, two variances, one letter of support from 1562 Mount Pleasant, and one letter of opposition for 1533 Mount Pleasant, and Forest 3 condition number 1. Now we have here the 31. We got two speakers, the agent and one more. Michelle McPherson, is she on? She's on. Okay, Mr. Kwan, are you there?
Hi, yes, Vanessa Kwan here.
Oh, Miss Kwan, okay. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
My name is Vanessa Kwan of Communicate, 222 Courtleigh Boulevard in Toronto.
Thank you. We have one more speaker here, so if you can give us a small presentation, I'll give you your 5 minutes and I'll start right now.
Thank you. We would like to construct a two-story rear addition on the existing two-story home, where the main floor portion of the addition will be a single-car garage. This single-family home is also a corner lot, and therefore the addition is considered to be rear, though the driveway and the front door face north to Wanless Avenue. Many of the homes in this area have maintained their original brick and have additions or have been demolished for new, larger homes. This building at 117 has undergone no modification to its existing footprint since its original construction. The existing garage will be removed and replaced with the new two-story addition. The main floor of the addition will be a garage for parking, while the second floor will accommodate sleeping. The existing garage is in poor repair and is too small to accommodate parking. There are also two existing walnut trees facing Wanless, and they will be maintained as part of this renovation. We have received, understand, and are comfortable with the forestry conditions committed. The walnut trees are also part of the rationale of parking in the garage to protect the car from falling walnuts. We believe our application meets the four tests because the proposal is in keeping with the pattern of development in this neighborhood. The rear lot line is only being decreased as a result of proper legal size parking space, and the FSI being added as a result of primarily the second floor only. Due to the corner lot, the existing rear yard setback is 2.87 meters. There are no privacy issues since there are only new windows on the north side facing Wanless and the west side, which faces a neighbor's brick wall. Thank you for your time and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. We'll come back to you after we hear from the speaker. The other speaker is Michelle McPherson. Are you there?
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please tell us your name and your address?
Yes, my name is Michelle McPherson and I live at 1534 Mount Pleasant Road.
Okay, so please tell us what's your concern about this application.
Yes, thank you, committee members and chair, and I appreciate you taking the time to hear us speak today. I would like to first state off that unfortunately it has to come to the situation in which this is in front of the committee for review. Oftentimes these are discussed with neighbors prior to these types of variances being considered, in which it would be up to the neighbors to come to a reconciliation. That unfortunately wasn't an opportunity with the neighbor because they never actually advised us of this change prior to going to the Committee of Adjustment. So for that, I apologize. Because we were advised of this late in the process, we had the opportunity to review the changes. And I would like to point out that although it is a two-story addition, there is also a basement that is going in that is significantly lower than the current basement as well. So there are concerns about drainage with such a small amount of area for water to flow. And obviously, flooding in this area has been of a great concern in the last 10 years. I've lived at 1534 for 7 years and have enjoyed the house with my family and 2 young children and spent a significant amount of time outside. I know the agent had indicated that there are not privacy issues because there's no additional windows on the side, but unfortunately the windows that are there are currently being used as a closet, and those are now going to be a new bedroom. And so there are increased concerns from a privacy perspective because of the change of nature of which the bedrooms are. I would like to also have the opportunity to point out that the one letter of support is from a house that is nowhere near this building and would never be affected by this. And unfortunately, there are no other letters of support on this. I did point out in the letter the concerns specifically to those walnut trees as well as the maple trees across from a shading perspective with the new structure. Obviously, these trees are part of the nature of the community. And also with the change in mass height and bulk of the proposed changes, I do consider this completely insensitive to the type of housing within the area and will definitely have a significant impact on resale values of homes within the area, specifically our house and the house just to the west of 117 Wanless. I would also like to point out that there's a significant lot coverage of the area at 6.6, which, as I have indicated, is very detrimental to the streetscape. I appreciate your time in hearing us today, and would have hoped that this didn't have to cross your pages if the neighbor had actually come to us prior to be able to discuss this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay, so we'll get back the Vanessa Kwan. Could you please come back and address those concerns?
Sure. In regards to the issue of the basement and drainage, the addition will be constructed in regards to all current OBC standards, so there would not be an issue with drainage at all. In regards to the existing windows, it already is used as a bedroom, so that will be maintained. And in regards to the trees, we are okay with the forestry conditions. Therefore, an arborist and the city will be consulted as part of the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question for this speaker? If not, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Mr. Chair, through you, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the conditions outlined.
Thank you.
Forestry amendment.
Forestry, thank you.
So,
second?
Oh,
I'm sorry. Did you want to say something else?
we're all good. Keep going.
Okay. Second? Mr. Klassen is seconding. All in favor? Okay. Your application is unanimously approved, subject to that condition of forestry, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 32, which is 160 Steep Rock Drive. And we have here to permit retail, one variance to permit retail use. That's it. And retail use is not permitted. So what do we have here? We have as far as the speakers, we have one more speaker here, and the agent, Thomas Glock. Are you there, Mr. Glock?
Yes, I am.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Thomas Gluck, 9 Magpie Crescent, Toronto.
Thank you. We do have one more speaker, therefore we need you to make a small presentation, and I'll give you your 5 minutes here. Go, please go.
Thank you. Thank you. The application that was submitted is actually for an accessory retail space of 200 square meters out of an overall building of 3,000 square meters. And it was specifically related as an accessory retail to unit number 3 in that building, which is 1,000 square meters. So the fact that the Committee of Adjustment reduced that description to simply retail is a little bit misleading. We're certainly not looking for the entire building to be retail or anywhere near it. The reference is, of course, not made to the North York zoning bylaw 7625, to which there is no compliance issue, because that bylaw under the M3 use does permit a retail use, and it actually permits a retail use without specific connection to an existing unit in the building. The only stipulation it makes is that there's an area limit, which is an FSI of 0.25, based on the lot area of 5,464 square meters. That 0.25 FSI would permit 1,366 meters of retail. We are looking for 200. So that is really the scale and the scope of it. And I needed to clarify that for the committee to understand just exactly what we're looking for.
Okay, we'll have some questions for you, but let's see the other person here. Ayla Cerebrani, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, could you please tell us what's your concern with this application?
I'm not concerned. I'm in support of the application.
Oh, that's easy. Okay. Yeah. How about your name and your address, please?
Ilya Serbriani, 65 Pondview Road in Thornhill, Ontario.
Thank you. And you're in support. Any other comment you want to make so we get the members? Members, any question for this gentleman? He's just supporting the application. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Glock, you can come back here, but I believe I don't know what you want to add. He's supporting you. Yeah, no.
I don't have anything further to add.
Okay, so
except that the proponent of this application has discussed the application with all the other occupants of the building, and obviously there has been no opposition.
Okay.
We don't have any opposition from planning, so we would just like to present our application and request.
Okay, we got it. We got it. Let's move to the motion. Do we have a motion, please, for this application?
Yes, Mr. Chair. That does seem to be minor, and so I will propose that it be approved.
Mr. Klassen to approve. Second. Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Opposed? Ms. Atarod is opposing. Okay, sir, your application is approved. Okay, there is no conditions, all right? Are you objecting? Sir,
I am not.
Okay, 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 thank you, goodbye. 333, item 33, which is 210 Patricia Avenue. We have this here to construct a new detached dwelling, 3 variances, staff report, just a condition to develop per east and west side elevation, and forestry condition number 1. Here we have the just one person registered here, which is Ali Malik Zadeh. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for our records here?
My name is Ali Malik from Urbanscape Architects, and I'm presenting application on behalf of the owner.
Thank you. Members, we have just the speaker here who is the agent. Do we need a presentation? No? Okay. Any question to the, yeah, sorry, Mr. Bartolo, did you have a question? No. Okay, so can I have a motion for questions? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion. I think it does meet the 4 tests, and I'll motion to approve this application. I'll make it subject to forestry and subject to the August 20th staff report indicating that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the side east elevation drawing and side west elevation drawing submitted to our committee.
Thank you. Second? Second, Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay, sir, unanimously approved, subject to those two conditions, forestry and the staff report as per east and west side elevations, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Application, okay, number 34, which is 35 McMahon Drive. This is to increase the number of stories of the west tower 15 to 18 and stories of the east tower from 26 to 29, 10 variances. Staff report to propose development to accordance to the site plan attached to the report, agreement to commit to section 45.9 and agreement to the cash distribution as per 45.9. The forestry condition, forestry condition, this is unusual. I have the forestry condition dated January 6, 22, requesting that to be involved in the negotiations of the fund distributions if the owners enter in agreement with 37, which is the cash value belongs to 37. So I need the agent to please make a presentation and tell us what the story of all this, and that is Mackey Bassani. Mackey Bassani, are you there? Thirty-five McMahon Drive, the application, and the item is 34, and we have registered here as an agent, Mackey Bassani.
Mr. Chair, Ms. Bassani is present.
Is present.
Is present, so perhaps we could stand this down.
Okay. Okay, we'll hold it down. Okay, we go to number 35, which is 15 Becky Chong Court.
Mr. Chairman, can we deal with number 35 and 36 together?
Yes, that's 15 and 16, yeah. Okay, 35 and 36, which is 15 and 16 Becky Chong Court. They're almost identical, and I'd like to have here the agent. Okay, this one's first, both of them, to construct a new dwelling, one variance, forestry condition, and staff report received for information only. They have no special concern. And both applications, 35 and 36. So do I have here Mr. Canavas? Oh no, sorry, Sophia Canavas. Miss Canavas, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I am here.
Okay, so please, if you want to make any presentation for the two variants, two applications, both of them, 35 and 36, okay? Which are 15 and 6.
Yes, I can make a presentation.
Please, go ahead.
Okay, so good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Sophia Canavas. I'm from Embahar Planning and Design Limited. I'm the planning consultant for the owner. The lands are located on the north side of Cummer Avenue, just east of Willowdale. The property is located at 162 to 200 Cummer Avenue. There is a draft M plan pending to change the address to Becky Chong. So just to clarify why the address for the application is different from the actual current address in the city system. So the property is currently under construction as per the approved site-specific zoning bylaw for a residential subdivision consisting of 14 single detached homes. The proposal before you today specifically relates to lots 7 and 8 on the draft M plan at the end of the constructed public road as shown on the site plan. So it would be there at the end of the cul-de-sac. The application proposes to rectify a technical variance based on the building department's staff's most recent interpretation of building length. Bylaw 838-17 sets out a maximum dwelling length of 21 meters as per the direction of planning staff. Building staff have since taken a different interpretation of how this is measured, as noted in the staff report. No changes are proposed to the dwellings. We have requested a variance to accurately reflect the building length as per the proper interpretation. The proposed dwelling length, according to building staff, is 26 meters, whereas the bylaw permits 21. The proposal meets the 4 tests for a minor variance. It maintains the intent of the official plan by proposing a development that is materially consistent with the prevailing physical character of the area and the broader and immediate context. The proposed application is in keeping with the prevailing lot sizes, configuration, height, scale, building type, and setbacks of the area and the site-specific approval for the lands. The proposed development also maintains the intent of the site-specific zoning, which facilitated the redevelopment of the site for the 14 single detached dwellings. It represents an appropriate development of the lands. It is minor in nature, as the relief being sought would result in a development that provides a sensitive, gradual, and general fit with the existing physical character of the area. This is a technical variance to correct the discrepancy over the interpretation of the definition for the building length on an irregularly shaped lot. I have read the staff report and the forestry conditions, and I agree with the contents and information provided by staff. I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you. So you covered the both.
Thank you.
You covered both applications in 2 minutes.
Yes.
1 minute each. Okay. Okay, so what do we have here? We don't have anybody else registered. So members, any questions? We did the two applications, and although there was nobody registered, we gave her a chance to have a presentation. So if there is no questions, can I have a motion on both of them?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I will move to approve the 2 applications and make them also subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Bartolo, second. All in favor? Okay. Your applications, both of them are unanimously approved based on the condition of forestry. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee.
All right. So we'll go back to number 34, see if they're here.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Maggie Bassani, yeah, you're here now. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, it's Maggie Bassani of 181 Bay Street, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant.
Okay, we have another speaker here. Therefore, we need you to make a small presentation, and I'll give you your 5 minutes, and you can start right now.
Thank you very much. The subject site is within a larger master plan community known as Concord Park Place, and the entire master plan community was rezoned collectively in 2013. And since it was rezoned in 2013, there's been a minor redesign of the proposed buildings on the site. And we've been working very closely with staff on those revisions who at this point are in support of our proposed minor variances. Variances 1 through 4 deal with the proposed increase in height and density for the 2 proposed buildings. We are increasing the number of units by 47. There is an increase in the GFA as well. And with respect to height, we are proposing to add 3 stories on each of the 2 buildings. But through analysis and many discussions with staff, the proposed variances do not result in any adverse impact, including no adverse shadow impacts on neighboring properties. The proposed height still falls beneath the 45-degree angular plane from the west lot line. And so it still maintains an appropriate transition to the lower heights further to the west. The proposed development continues to be compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, which has approved heights up to 36 stories. And I want to bring a clerical matter to the committee's attention with respect to variances 1 and 2 with respect to dwelling units and the GFA. It should actually refer to a maximum with respect to our variance language, and it may have just been inadvertently missed there, that our proposed variance language for variance 1 and 2 would be maximums. Variance 5 deals with the west yard setback, and if you pull up the site plan, you can see that as part of the redesign, we have actually omitted now the original 3-story residential component that was on the far west edge of the parcel. And now, instead of a 3-story residential building, there will actually now be converted into an outdoor amenity area instead. And so as a result, that has resulted in the setback reduced to 8.8 meters rather than the 10 meters. And then there's a portion of both the podium of the tower on the west side. Instead of a 5-meter setback, it is now a 4.6-meter setback to accommodate an architectural decorative fin. So that element, I would put to the committee is technical. Again, another clerical error, unfortunately, that I want to correct, that the reference in the variance there to section X subnumeral 3 should actually be X subnumeral 1. Variance 6 is a technical variance. I would categorize it as it deals with the provision of visitor bike parking spaces. The proposed bike spaces are technically below established grade, but there is still access at the ground level. And in direct response to the request from staff as part of the ongoing site plan application review, the variance is worded such that at least 15% of those visitor bike spaces are located within the shared driveway courtyard at grade, and this will ensure that there will be visitor spaces near the main entrances to the residential buildings. Variances 7 through 9 continue to be more technical in nature variances. Variance number 7 deals with the relationship between the ground floor of ground floor dwelling units and the elevation of the sidewalk adjacent to it. And here, so we are asking for a variance difference of 0.05 meters. Variance number 8 and 9 deal with permitted projections for the proposed green roof structures. Typically, zoning bylaws, site-specific bylaws will allow for vertical and horizontal projections from the building envelope in a zoning bylaw map. And here, this was one of those items that may have just been inadvertently missed when the rezoning took place in 2013. And now that we have more refined, detailed drawings, we need to allow for the green roofs, which is why there's a variance number 8 and 9. Finally, variance 10 deals with building wall and acoustic walls. The existing site-specific bylaw has requirements for the length and location of building walls and acoustic walls along the south lot line adjacent to Highway 401, and this requirement was intended to help mitigate the noise from the highway. And as a result of the revised design for the buildings, as well as more detailed architectural drawings through the site plan process, revisions are required to reflect the new noise mitigation proposal. And again, we've worked very closely with staff as well as our acoustic experts and has.
I'll ask you to summarize, please. You're over 5 minutes.
Sure, certainly. So the variance you see in number 10 is to reflect the revised noise mitigation measures, which I want to say has been peer reviewed and is acceptable by staff.
Okay, we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you after the other speaker. Okay. We have here David Reed. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, it appears that Mr. Reed is not present.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Reed is not there. So we have only Maggie Bassani. Any questions for this applicant? No questions? Mr. Bartolo, did you have a question? No. Okay, and now regarding the conditions, I'd like to be a little bit clear what's happening here. Ms. Bassani, could you weigh in on these conditions here? One is the agreement for the 45 section and one cash contribution of $200,000, and then the forestry condition. How does it, if we make it a condition, is this still valid since they wrote it in June 2020. And at that time, they said to any time you agree to Section 37, which is the money distribution, they will be involved. Could you please weigh in on that? Explain what's happening down there.
Certainly. So the forestry comments you're referring to, as you rightly pointed out, are from January of 2020. And so there have been no updated forestry comments since we've resubmitted more recently. And that was, I would point out, as an advisory comment, simply that forestry was asking to be involved with planning if there were any discussions about Section 37 contributions, and in this case, a cash contribution. And through working with planning staff and forestry having been consulted, it was determined that the condition you see before you with a cash contribution of $200,000 would be an appropriate contribution in exchange for the additional height and density that we're requesting. The original 2013 zoning bylaw amendment did secure community benefits and a cash contribution, and so for the density that was approved in that site-specific bylaw. And now that we are asking for some additional height and density, and through discussions with staff, it was determined that an extra, I'll call it a top-up contribution of $200,000 is appropriate in this instance. So we have no problems with and consent to the two conditions recommended by planning staff. As such, I don't believe there are any actual conditions recommended by forestry, and the reference to the 37 in that January memo was simply advisory.
Okay, so the conditions of the staff, you're okay with that, and forestry you think is an old one, right?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. So members, any other question we have for this speaker? If not, can I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I will move because this strikes me not to be minor by any extent. There's a transfer of money that is something that politicians should be doing and not appointed members of a committee. And the changes proposed are not minor in any case. I move to not approve this application, to reject it.
So your motion is to reject the application, to refuse it?
That's right.
Okay. Do I have any other seconder for that? Ms. Sankar is seconding it. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, Mr. Bartolo and Ms. Attarodi opposing the refusal. So I think I have to be sympathetic with the member here who mentions the monies, which I always have been uncomfortable with it. Unfortunately, this section 37 is very common to address the community by getting the money to improve the community and the thing. So therefore, this is not the first time. We have many times did go along with the distribution contribution, and therefore I'll have to not to refuse and not to go with this motion. So do I have another motion, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, through you, I'm satisfied that the proponent has done the due diligence. They've worked out some of the big questions with regards to ensuring that it fits architecturally with the angular plane and added architectural features, increased landscaped area, and have worked to mitigate the noise from the existing highway. And should they agree to the conditions and the recommendations in the staff report, it's better for the community, and it's entirely up to them. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the two recommendations noted in the staff report dated September 1st, 2020.
of the staff report. Thank you. Second, do you have second? Miss, do you have second for this?
So I'm second, but shall we also subject it to forestry?
Well, yeah, okay. They said.
I only see advisory comments here. There's nothing hard that's required or from
Yeah,
them.
okay. You agree to forestry as well? Okay. Well,
I can agree to it, but they're just advisory comments, so it's fine.
the problem is when there is a forestry, we have conditions. Usually they come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in this condition, it was unusual and is listed for since January, and it was confirmed that is no longer applicable. So, so it's are you willing to discard the forestry, or you insist on it?
I mean, if we have the forestry condition, does it really affect us if it's already done?
I think it'll complicate it, and there's no requirement there. Forestry still gets to comment on all forest-related matters nonetheless. I think this is more just about negotiating the use of the $200,000 funds.
That's right. Yeah, the forestry always involved anyways before they get a permit. So what you're saying here, you agree to the two conditions from the staff and to approve the application, right?
Yeah, that's the way I'd like to keep it.
Second, Ms. Tarodi, you're okay with that? Thank you. All in favor? Okay. Ms. Sankar, did I see your name like this or just this? You're not. No. Okay, so we have two opposed. Opposed, Mr. Tarodi and Mr. Klassen. So, sorry?
Ms. Sankar.
Huh?
Oppose Ms. Sankar.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was called Ms. Sankar. Okay, Ms. Sankar and Mr. Klassen are opposing. So therefore, we have one motion here and motion for the two. And I have to join the motion to approve, as stated by Mr. Bartolo and Mr. Tarodi, not Mr. Hakar, Mr. Tarodi. Okay, so sir, your application is approved, subject to those two conditions of the staff report, and have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
Okay. 35 and 36. We addressed 35 and 36. Now we have the last one, which is 37. The address is 10 Yorkview Drive. To construct a new dwelling, 9 variances. Staff report asking to refuse variance number 7 related to the deck and develop according to the south elevation drawing. There is 17 letters of objection and forestry 2 and 4. The councillor letter is coming to recommend to refuse variance number 7, which is in line with the staff report, but also is asking to refuse number 1 and 2 related to the side yard setbacks. So I'll see who we have here. So 37, which is, as I said, 10 Yorkview, we have three speakers, the agent and 2 more speakers. The agent is Ali Yi. Are you there?
Hi, here. How are you? Here's Ali.
Okay, can you please state your name and the address, your own address for the records here?
Okay. Good afternoon, Chairman and member of the committee. My name is Ali Yi, come from Alera Engineering and Construction, present owner for this project at 10 Yorkview Drive. This is demolition of the single-family house and build new. We are requires for minor variances very simple. Is major is increase 2% coverage. The require is 30%. We application is 32%. And another one, we require for the setback. So by require is 6 feet. We require both sides is 5 feet for setback. It's a major require. I thinking we are require is a minor variance and meet for test require. Last hearing at June 11, we went each item one by one. We differ, the only reason is for forest request. So now we make application for forest and have a arborist record and did a site inspection, got comments from forest, and currently we only waiting for committee adjustment final decision, then we can have a tree permit. For my support document, I did a survey for last 10 years. Nearby surrounding area is almost 56 project approved by increase 2%, almost 100% is approved by committee of adjustment, and the setback reduce 1 feet and almost 100% and approved by committee adjustment. I know the neighbor of number 8, they have some sample or something, but that is most of the house is old house. They built more than 10 years. So I thinking our application is really minor, and I hope I can get approved. I'm waiting to answer any question.
Thank you. We have 2 more speakers here. After we get them, we'll get you back to address their concern, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have here Doug Wilson. Are you there? Mr. Wilson, are you there? Is he registered there? He's present, yeah. Mr. Wilson, could you please answer if you're hearing us? Okay, so we'll go to the next one and we come back to him. Sean McClelland, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Okay, please state your name and address for our records here.
Sean McClelland at 12 Yorkview Drive. I live immediately to the south. I object to the variances of 1 and 2 for the side variances.
Okay.
The lot is a 60-foot lot. It shouldn't need to have side variances. This will only leave 5 feet between my property and their property, and they still need to fit air conditioning units on that side. Also, regarding the 100% approval document, I reviewed that. There's only 3 60-foot lots on that document that were approved. Everything else is a 50-foot lot or below. So it's kind of like comparing apples to grapefruit. Doesn't really feel good.
Okay. Are you finished? Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I was also worried about water absorption, because in my house I get if the ground gets saturated, water comes up.
Yeah.
Through the floor. So I'm worried about water runoff, water absorption because of the increase.
Yeah, we don't deal with water here. We don't deal. That is at the stage of the construction and the permit. We do not deal with it. We deal here with the variances in front of us only. So please go ahead.
All right. So I'll just restate that I do object to the variances for the side variances.
Okay. So you object to variance number 1 and 2, which is in line with what the councillor is saying. Okay. And are you finished, or you want to still say something?
No, I'm done.
You're finished. Thank you. Any question for this speaker? Members, I don't see the members. Could you please remove that? Okay, any question for this speaker? No? Okay, so we go back to the gentleman who didn't show up. Doug Wilson, are you there?
I am.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we hear you. Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, it's Doug Wilson, 18 Yorkview Drive.
Okay, and tell us what's your concern, please.
My concerns are for variants 1, 2, and 5, as well as the height. I'm not sure whether it's been resolved about the height of the deck, which I think is number 7.
Yes.
Has that been resolved?
Well, no. We have the application in front of us, and there is
Okay.
there is like a recommendation to refuse it, but we haven't decided yet.
Oh, okay. So 1, 2, and 3, and I have a presentation from EYCA, a PowerPoint.
I thought you said 1, 2, and 5.
1, 2, and 5, and 7.
And 7, right. Okay. Please go ahead.
All right. And there's a PowerPoint from EYCA with regards to, in particular, 1, 2, and 5. As we look here, and these are all newer dwellings within a block and a half and all east of Senlac, each one of these did not ask or receive a variance of the side lot. And this is preserving our neighborhood. And even the last one, which was 20 Yorkview, did not request that. And most of these are 50-foot lots. This is a 60-foot lot. And we certainly do not believe that that there's privacy issues, there's space issues. And although you don't look after drainage issues, the backyard of 10 Yorkview is higher than the sidewalk considerably, and we believe that there will be drainage issues to each of the neighbors. With regards to 5 and 7, having this deck height and closeness to the side yard really changes the privacy of all of the neighbors, including the gentleman at 6 Lurgan, where it will be gawking into his pool because it's only a few meters away with such height. So I am asking for all 4 of those variances to be struck.
Thank you.
And not be variances.
Thank you. Any question for this gentleman? No questions, so we'll get back the agent. Ali, could you please come back here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so can you address these concerns of the 4 variances, 1, 2, and 5, which relate to the side yard setback, which is for a lot that has 60 feet, and the number 7, which is for the deck. So could you please address those 4 concerns?
Oh, yeah. Number 7, I just read the staff report. So exactly according for staff report, we will delete this item required for number 7. I think I sent an email to them already.
Okay, 1, 2, and 5.
For the number, yeah, for the number 1 and the 2, because this lot is a shallow. There's one side is only 99 feet, and another is 106, very narrow lot. And the neighbor, they have what is it? They have a 55 by 155. I checked the sample. They make a presentation all big lot. Even number 9, they have 50 by 100. 180, and also the older the house built in a long time ago. The neighbor number 8, they built at 2007, and number 9 they built at 1992. this is all old houses. So this now is society improve and will be more density and more bigger house. It's not for all the time on a small house on the street.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any question for this applicant? No. So can I have a motion, please? I'm watching the hands. Ms. Tarodi, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. I will eliminate variance number 1, variance number 2, and variance number 5, as well as variance number 7. The rest will stay, and I'm just checking if there is any forestry conditions
Yes, there's forestry.
and subjected to forestry.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Klassen, second. All in favor? Okay. Opposed? Ms. Sankar is opposing, and the application is approved. Ms. Ali, your application is approved, subject to 1, 2, 5, and 7 being refused, and forestry. Okay? So that's the end of it. Members, can I have a motion to terminate? Terminate the meeting.
So a motion to terminate at 4:50.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Tarodi. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay. Mr. Bartolo, you want to stay here?
Oh, I want to stay all night. Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day. So it's finished.
Thanks, everybody.
See you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
staff.